Welcome back to Get Fit Guy. I'm your host, Dr. Jonathan Su. Every week, I'll share science-backed tips to help you get fit, stay fit, and optimize performance. My clients always want to know how long it takes to see progress from exercise. And by progress, they usually mean noticeable improvements in muscle mass and muscle strength from resistance training. This is a fair question to ask because pumping iron is not exactly a walk in the park. It's hard work, both in the everyday sense of the word and in the physics definition of the word. Amount of force multiplied by the distance over which it's applied. Allow me to nerd out a bit here. It's interesting to think that to build muscle mass and strength, you literally have to use your body to generate force so you can move resistance, whether that's your body weight, a barbell, or dumbbells across a distance. Assuming that the average arm length of an adult is about 1.6 feet, and you're performing 30 push-ups. You're moving your body weight a total of nearly 50 feet with just your chest and arms. So it makes sense that if you're going to be investing time and energy working with the hopes of sculpting your body into a bigger, leaner, and stronger version of yourself, you're going to want to have an idea of what your return on investment is going to be. The good news is that your hard work will, without question, pay off. One study that looked at the effects of resistance training showed that everyone had measurable improvements in lean body mass, muscle size, strength, or function. Chances are, you're going to see progress. The bad news is that it takes time to see results. The same study showed that the level of improvement was strongly affected by the number of weeks of exercise, with more improvement following a greater number of weeks of exercise. Why is this bad news? Because another study found that nearly 2/3 of people abandoned their New Year's resolutions within a month. Seeing how we're about 6 weeks out from the new year, I'm guessing that most people are no longer hitting the gym as hard as they were at the beginning of the year. If this is you, don't worry, because I've learned from working with over 50 clients a week for years that most of the time, all it takes is cold, hard data and a little bit of sweet talking to encourage people to get back on that horse. I know, because part of what I do as a physical therapist is to get people who refuse to exercise to get moving again. In this episode, I'm going to share with you research on just how little time it takes for changes to muscle growth and muscle strength to take place that'll hopefully encourage and inspire you to hit the gym like it's the first week of January again. The answer to how long it takes to see muscle growth and increase strength may surprise you, in a good way. A study that looked at the time course of muscle growth in both younger and older women showed that it took only 2 weeks for thigh muscle size to improve beyond the measurement error. In this study, resistance training was performed 3 times a week and the girth of the thigh muscle was on average 1/10 of an inch thicker after only 2 weeks. I know some of you may be thinking that 1/10 of an inch is insignificant, but remember, this is only after 2 weeks. Imagine the difference after consistently exercising for 3 or 4 months. Another study showed that 4 sets of 10 reps of leg presses twice a week increased leg strength by over 40% in seniors after 10 weeks of training. That's pretty impressive, and it gives hope for those of us who don't think that we can ever change how we move or feel. I mentioned earlier that I've worked with over 50 clients a week for years, and how part of what I do as a physical therapist is to get people who refuse to exercise to get moving again. One of the most effective ways that I get people motivated to exercise is to point out progress that I'm witnessing. And guess what? Progress is apparent if you know where to look. I found that there's some type of progress on a weekly basis in just about everyone I've worked with. Here are some of the things that I look for that you may be able to spot. By keeping your eyes peeled for these things in your own exercise program, you'll be able to witness improvements that will hopefully help you stay motivated to stick with your workout routine for the long haul. Improvements in strength and endurance. Improvements in strength and endurance happen in baby steps. What I look for in my clients are small changes in the number of repetitions that they can perform at a particular resistance before fatiguing. For example, if you performed 8 repetitions of an exercise at a particular resistance last week before fatiguing, and now you perform 9 or 10 repetitions of the same exercise at the same resistance this week before fatiguing, you've improved. This is something to celebrate, but most people don't notice this improvement because they don't keep track of things. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of keeping a logbook of your workouts. It can be as simple as a note on your smartphone that lists the date, exercise performed, resistance used, and the set and rep where you pooped out. Improvements in quality of movement. Even if you don't notice improvements in strength and endurance, changes are almost always happening behind the scenes, and quality of movement is a great place to look. What is quality of movement? It's stuff like an increased range of motion during an exercise, as well as improved control of your movements. For example, going down a little bit lower on a squat would count as increased range of motion. Doing so while being able to move in a slow and intentional way would count as improved control. Improvements in recovery. Improvements in recovery are another way to measure progress. For example, you've improved if you need less rest time between sets, or if you're feeling less sore or fatigued the day after your workout. Again, keeping a logbook of your workouts to track these things can be the difference between noticing improvements or not. Let's put this knowledge to use with a 5-day Looking for Improvements challenge. Over the next 5 days, your challenge is to look for the improvements in your progress described earlier. Give it a try and let me know how you feel by emailing me at getfitguy@quickanddirtytips.com or leaving me a voicemail at 510-353-3104. Get Fit Guy is a Quick and Dirty Tips podcast. It's audio engineered by Nathan Sems, with script editing by Adam Cecil. Our operations and editorial manager is Michelle Margulis. Our assistant manager is Emily Miller. And our marketing and publicity assistant is Davina Tomlin.